Hey guys, welcome back. It is Thanksgiving long weekend here in Canada. I've got a cozy little vlog in the city for you, a couple of recipes, a few book recommendations, and a couple of lovely walks around the city. Hope you enjoy. I am on my way to the grocery store to get the supplies I need to make the chocolate chip pumpkin bread. It is obviously raining. But I'm excited to have a cozy afternoon inside, baking and drinking some tea. So let's do it. Okay, let's make our pumpkin bread. I have pre-measured everything. One thing I get asked a lot is, what advice would you give to people that are just getting started with cooking? I will say I'm not a baker by any means, and I tend to thrive in cooking and fail in baking. So what I can say is, any recipe that you want to try, make sure you read the entire recipe from start to finish before you start cooking, because there is often notes in the recipe that you might be doing three things, trying to multitask getting the recipe together, and then it comes to a section in the recipe and you're like, oh my god, I don't know what that is, or I don't know how to do that, or I don't have that. So read the recipe from start to finish before you start any recipe. I have preheated the oven to 350 degrees and put the rack on the third lowest slot to stop the top of the bread from burning. I went ahead and greased a loaf pan with avocado oil, and then I added an extra protection of parchment paper because I have a tendency to burn things or things stick to the bottom of my dishes. I don't know if my oven is too hot, but this helps. I've got my sugars here, 3/4 cups of brown sugar and just under half a cup of white sugar. Obviously have my pumpkin puree, half a cup of orange juice, 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I've got some chocolate chips, pumpkin spice, cinnamon, and salt, baking soda, 2 room temperature eggs, and some melted coconut oil. There are notes in the recipe. If you don't have pumpkin spice, you can use a mixture of clove, nutmeg, and ginger. I just happen to have pumpkin spice, so that's what I'm using. So I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing the dry ingredients into this bowl first. Get a spoon. When you're mixing the dry ingredients, it's important to mix the dry ingredients very well so that the baking soda, salt, and flour is all evenly distributed, because there is a chemistry to cooking and specifically baking, and you want to make sure that all of those active ingredients like baking soda and salt get mixed well so that they can do what they need to do in the recipe. Okay, now that the dry ingredients are mixed well, let me get this out of the way. We'll put that aside and we'll start doing the wet ingredients. Some might argue that sugar is a dry ingredient, and it is, but we want to make it creamy with the eggs and the orange juice and the oil, so it makes like this creamy sort of a paste almost. So I'm going to add the eggs, orange juice, and the oil. And we're going to mix that well until it creams the sugar. The recipe says to use about 340 grams of pumpkin puree. I don't know why all of the American recipes use grams and all of our Canadian products use milliliters. So I did a quick conversion, and this can is about 414 grams of pumpkin puree. So I'm only going to use, I'm not going to use the whole can, I'm just going to eyeball how much I need. I used almost the whole can, but we're going to mix this up. Okay, now we are going to add our wet ingredients into our flour mixture. Mix it until you can't see flour anymore. If you overmix, you might screw up some of that chemistry that we talked about earlier, which is important to get this to rise properly and to bake the way that it needs to bake. So we're gonna mix until all of these white clumps turn into the same color as the wet mixture. This, I would say, is basically where you'd want it to be. It's okay if it has like a couple white streaks in it, but we don't want to overmix. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'm gonna fold in my chocolate chips. And again, folding in means you take the chocolate chips and you just like tuck them in. Pretend they're having a little nap and they need a blanket on top of them. See, there's even a bit of the flour. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. There is a bit of flour at the bottom, but I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see it. So I think that's good enough. Now we're ready to pour our batter into our bread tin. So just evenly distribute all of the mixture. Aftermath of measuring everything. Here is the loaf. Let's put it in the oven. While the bread was baking, I decided to do some Friday evening tasks. I've been doing this a lot lately, where I spend an hour and a bit on a Friday evening or Friday afternoon just getting some of those weekend chores ticked off the list, changing the bed sheets, putting laundry away, looking around and just seeing what could use a quick tidy up. It does make for a more relaxing Saturday morning where we can just get up on Saturday, have a coffee, make a nice breakfast, and look around and not see the endless to-do list of what needs to be done. I highly recommend, if you have even 30 minutes on a Friday night, to just do a couple tasks so that it's one or two less things that you have to worry about for the rest of the weekend. It looks really good. It smells really good. It didn't rise, but the texture inside still looks very decent. I'm having a decaf Earl Grey with cream, and I'm gonna taste test the loaf. Whoa, it's so delicious. Really very tasty. I would 100% make this again. I would probably add some nuts next time, maybe some chopped walnuts, but the texture is really good. The flavor is very delicious. I'm gonna say 8 out of 10, only because it didn't rise, but everything else is so good, and I cannot wait to have this tomorrow morning with a hot coffee. Good morning. It is a gloomy and rainy Saturday morning. I've spent most of the morning editing the chocolate chip pumpkin bread recipe to add to the vlog, and now I am making some squash carrot ginger soup. I don't have a recipe for this. I didn't film making this, but it's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna roast all of these vegetables. I will flip the squash over, don't worry. And then I'm gonna add sage, ginger, veggie stock, and let that cook a little bit in a pot, and then I will blend it up and eat it with some sourdough toast. The squash looks and smells amazing. I'm putting the carrot and garlic and onion back in for another 5 minutes, and then I will pop it all in my pot and add the rest of the ingredients. I spent most of the day Saturday editing, cooking, relaxing, and I really needed to stretch my legs. So I went out for a nice little walk to get some fresh air. There was a break in the rain. If you live in Vancouver, you know when we get these little periods of sunlight between rain, you got to get outside. So that's exactly what I did. Good morning. It is Monday morning. Dave and I are headed to Queen Elizabeth Park to go for a nice walk around the gardens. All of my friends and family have been sharing their photos back in Ontario of all of the beautiful fall colors, and it's just made me really miss home and made me really want to get into some fall colors. So yeah, have you ever been to Queen Elizabeth Park before?
Years ago, you play tennis and stuff, but
Not to walk
been a long
around.
time. Yeah.
Okay, well, I've never been. We're just about to grab some coffee so we can get some caffeine into this man. And then we're gonna go for a nice walk and I will take you with us. We're at the Bloedel Conservatory and we've never been here before, and it's so beautiful and so interesting. There's so many exotic birds and plants. season, I wanted to chat about a few books. Reasonable Adults is a book I read last winter. It is so cute. I had such low expectations because I found it in the clearance bin at Walmart, but it is based in Toronto and Muskoka, and it's about a depressed writer who gets assigned a job at a failing wellness retreat in Muskoka. It doesn't reference any towns or places exactly, but if you've ever been to the area, if you grew up there, you're gonna just feel so much nostalgia reading this book. Super easy to read. It's a romantic comedy. I highly recommend this going into the winter season. I'm reading this book right now, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. It isn't a book that I would normally pick up. I don't read a lot of magic or fantasy books, but something about it caught my eye. I think because I'm so into fall right now and it's very autumn themed. It is so cute. A lot of witchcraft and animals that can talk and spell casting, and I didn't think I would like it as much as I'm liking it, so I can't wait to see what happens. I would definitely recommend this book as well. I'm not a fast reader, so I'm hoping to have this book finished by November, mid-November, because I'm excited to read this book, which looks so cheesy. It's about a woman who owns a bakery, and she is feuding with a bar owner down the street, and eventually, obviously, they fall in love. According to the back of the book, that's what I'm guessing happens, but it just seems like the cutest, coziest little winter read, and I just can't wait to curl up on the couch on a really cold day with a cup of hot chocolate and just read this book. If you are interested in any of these books, I will link them in the description below and you can check them out for yourself. If you have any light fiction, cozy books that you want to recommend, please let me know in the comments because I'm always looking for good books to read. That's all for me. I'm going to finish cleaning up my clothes, have some leftover soup, and enjoy the last of this sunny day before another work week starts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.